It's Monday Modern Madness, an open tag started by 865 Knives, and today we're going to take a look at my Benchmade 940s. Last week I showed you this one, which is the 940 that I've been carrying every day. And I love this knife. I love the utility of it. I love the visibility. S90V holds a phenomenal edge. Now this is my old 940. I bought this one back probably, I'm going to guess somewhere around 2010, 2011. This is an S30V. This knife is on its second blade. Now years ago, I did some customization on some 940s. I took 3 different 940s and I put them together and I made this one. And the S30V blade that was original to this went away in some of the other knives that I had sold. So I managed to get another one, a brand new one to put in here. This is the knife that I ended up making. This is my favorite 940. This one has an M4 blade that came from a Blade HQ exclusive. There you can see the M4 on it. Right there. And I got a 940-1, which is an S90V knife that comes with these carbon fiber scales. I got it as a parts knife, but the scales were in perfect shape. The blade had been snapped. And I used those parts and some parts from my original 940 to make this one. I added blue titanium hardware. This is all from a guy out of Australia. It's Adrian, I think, if I remember right. So the pivot and the screws are all blue titanium. One thing that's not is the access lock. This access bar itself, if you put the titanium one in, you can't oil it, it'll stick. You have to put wax on it. And I didn't want to be bothered with that, so I just left the original black steel one in there. And I'm much happier with it that way. I don't want a sticky action. Part of the draw of the access lock is how smooth it works and how easy it is for one hand opening and closing. You can even spidey flick these. They're just fun to play with, and you don't want to mess up that access lock by making it sticky. Now this is a 940-1, same exact carbon fiber scales as this one, although this one is still stock. These have an S90V blade. I love how Benchmade does their carbon fiber. No other company makes a carbon fiber that looks like that. These are just beautiful. Then back to my old one. The S30V on it held a phenomenal edge. Now, one thing I had done with my old one is I had laid the edge back to 11 degrees per side. 11 degrees per side is what a Scandi grind is. Then after that, I used a Spyderco sharp maker, set to 15 degrees per side, and put a micro bevel on it. That edge held up really well. I only had to touch the thing up on the ceramic rods about once a month. I carried the knife like that for 5 or 6 years. It was just a great blade, and it performed excellent. This one I did different. This one, I sharpened it about somewhere between 14 and 15 degrees per side, and that's performing equally as well. So I'm going to leave it like this. I'm not going to do the 11 degrees and then the 15 degree micro bevel. I'm just going to leave it at about 14 degrees per side, and that makes a big difference in the knife over how it comes stock. The bevel is too obtuse when you get one of these 940s. You lay that edge back to 14 degrees per side, and you have a knife that is now very slicey. Will it slice like a Spyderco Paramilitary 2? No, it will not. But it's not that far behind, and it's plenty slicey for anything you need. Get the tip on that. Nice stout tip that you can actually do work with. When you have a Paramilitary 2, you have a tip that's fragile, you have a tip that's too thin, and I'm always scared that I'm going to break them. And that is one reason I sold all my P2s. I don't have anything from that series anymore. Never had a P3, don't want one based on my experience with the P2. Now a knife that I do like is the Manix 2 series. They have a little bit thicker tip than the P2 series. So I think if you're going to go with a Spyderco with that full flat grind and the leaf-shaped blade, the Manix series is the way to go. But these 940s have been, I'm going to say, the best work knives I have ever owned. Now those of you that have watched my channel for quite a while, you know that I really like the cold steel Recons, specifically the large Recon Tanto. 4-inch blade, S35VN, awesome knife. But if I had to pick only one modern as a good utility knife, as an everyday work knife that will also slice good enough, it would be these 940s. You can't go wrong with the old green one in S30V. But if you can get a hold of an S90V one, either one of these, the carbon fiber or some of the G10 variants you can find now on the custom shop, you will have an incredible knife. S90V takes and holds a toothy edge for a very long time. You will not have to sharpen it during the day. Hope you like this look at my 940s. I think next week I'll continue with some of my other Benchmades. And we'll see you on the next one.